Smell that. It's spring is in the air. There's all kinds of sign here in the Coachella Valley that spring is right around the corner. We have things like the tennis tournament just starting, and then we have the super bloom, which is amazing. I'm sorry for those people who have hay fever or allergies, but it's going to be spectacular. But what happens when it comes to making sure we are ready for springtime in our homes? And, for me, it's my wife who's reminding me, Jeff, it's time to clean out the garage. But we're not talking about that kind of stuff today. We're talking about, hey, what about our air conditioning? What about our system? What do we want to do? Well, we're going to bring in the expert, and that is our comfort doctor. That's Mike from Anthem Air Conditioning. Good morning, Michael. How are you today?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Have you had to start cleaning out the garage or doing those seasonal, those springtime cleaning things yet?
It is the season, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to turn it over to you as far as, hey, what do we need to do as homeowners to make sure that, hey, we're taking care of our system and is performing up to its best? And quite honestly, if it's not, it's probably costing us money. But I'm going to leave that up to you. Those of you joining us live, make sure that you have any questions for Michael. You just put them in the comments, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook. And if you're watching this on a replay, again, put the questions in the comments and Michael will answer those. I'll be in the background. And Michael, have a great show.
Thank you. So today we're going to be talking about the AC tune-up for summertime, also known as your springtime maintenance. It's a very important part, especially living out here in the desert, to prepare your air conditioner system for the summer, the upcoming summer months. I like to compare it to a long trip that we're about to take into summertime. And if you're going to take a long trip in your car, you typically want to make sure your tires are in good shape, that your oil's been changed, that your car is ready for that trip. Same thing with your air conditioner system. It's time to get your air conditioner system ready for that summertime that we're going to have out here. And that is the long trip that we are going to go into in the California, Riverside, Palm Desert area. So there's a couple of things that we want to take a look at when we're getting ready for the springtime maintenance. We want to do it right now before we start to use our air conditioner system. So you want to get it done before you go on that trip. You don't want to have to stop halfway through with a broken AC and take time to get that repaired when we know that every air conditioner company out there is going to be busy. And there may be some delays. You may not get the top quality because you're looking for quickness as opposed to quality in getting the repairs or new system installed. So right now is the time when you want to look at your air conditioner system, get it ready for our summertime. So today I want to go over just a brief overview of the components of the air conditioner system. We'll go over a checklist of maintenance items that we want to take care of, clean, talk about the condenser side, the furnace or air handler side, a little bit about your ducts, and then of course your filter. And then we'll talk about do it yourself versus getting a professional clean. So having a professional go out there and do the professional maintenance. So I did talk about the importance of getting it done. If you want to make sure that you are prepared for summertime and the use of your air conditioner system, now is the time to really take a look at it. The components of your air conditioner system, you have your outside condenser. That's the box that sits on the outside of your home. That is what a lot of people traditionally say is my air conditioner system. That's your condenser. It is a major part of your air conditioner system, but it is not all of your air conditioner system. Then you have your furnace or air handler that's inside, that typically you think of for heating, is used to heat your home. But in the summertime, that's also where the fan that blows the air through the system is located. So you want to make sure that that fan is working properly, and that that air that travels through that system is traveling through a clean furnace, so that there's not dust in there and things like that. And then that furnace leads to the coil. The coil is what we call the inside portion of your air conditioner system. That's where the refrigerant goes that actually changes the temperature of your air conditioner system. It removes the heat and sends the cold air back through the ductwork to your home. And then everything gets filtered. All your air gets filtered through a hopefully nice, clean filter. So those are what we're going to go over today. Make sure that all of those components are properly set for your summertime adventure. So we'll start with the outside unit, the condenser. Okay, the outside unit it needs airflow to basically flow from the outside around the condenser. It pulls the air in. When you listen to the condenser, you have a fan in there and you have a compressor. That fan pulls air from outside in and then pushes it up. What it's doing is it's actually getting rid of heat. The refrigerant lines actually pull heat into a liquid form, bring it outside. The compressor superheats it. And then what we do is we use outside air. That's why that fan is pulling in, trying to cool those fins down. So it's trying to get rid of the heat from inside your house that it pulled through the liquid. And if you ever go outside and you put your hand above that condenser, you'll feel that air from that fan. It's going to be really hot air. So even when it's 110, 115 degrees out here, you put your hand above that condenser, that air is even hotter. So that's because it's getting rid of the superheat, the super hot coils and refrigerant that is now trying to cool off using that outside air to cool everything off. You want to make sure that is actually cleaned out, because if it cannot pull outside air to cool those fins off, you are not going to be able to cool your refrigerant off, which then has to be cooled back down to make cold air inside, to help make that cold air inside. So you need to be able to get rid of that superheat so that you can do that. And by cleaning your condenser, that helps do that. There's a lot of times what the cheap, inexpensive maintenance companies will do is they'll go out there and with a hose, they'll just kind of water your condenser. Well, you don't want to just water your condenser. That's just pushing the dirt in if it does anything. Pushes it in, pushes it down. It doesn't get rid of that dirt. So what you want to do is, ideally, you want to shut the power off first. Then you remove the top of that condenser, okay? Disconnect the fan that is attached to the top lid, and then you want to wash the condenser from the inside out, pushing that dirt back out of the condenser. You don't want to push the dirt into your condenser. You want to push it out of your condenser. And then there's coil cleaning solutions that we use to help clean those fins and make sure that air can actually get between all of those fins. When you look at your condenser, when I'm talking about the fins, there are these little tiny strips of aluminum that go in. So if you ever take a look at your condenser, you're going to see millions and millions of these tiny little strips all throughout. You can see it from the outside of your condenser if you look through the little spaces between. And if those little aluminum fins close up, that's restricting airflow also. So we want to make sure that those fins are open, allowing air to flow through. And then you can get a fin comb, a condenser coil fin comb, and you can actually brush those out if you need to. But in order to do that, you got to remove the whole cage. So unless it's really needed, typically you don't do that, but you don't want to push those fins in. So you want to make sure you have a lot of airflow around your condenser, that it's clean from the inside out, and get rid of all the dirt and debris that will clog that condenser. Uh, Moving on to your inside of your home, you have your coil and you have your furnace. So we'll start with the furnace or air handler, and that's where I told you that the fan is located that pushes the air around. So that area, we want to open it up. We want to make sure that we clean that area, that that air has a nice, easy path to flow through. Any debris in there is going to restrict airflow or create indoor air quality issues and reduce efficiency on your system, as well as restrict airflow. So you want to make sure that area is wiped down, cleaned up, ready for operation. The motors are cleaned and ready to go. So we take a look at all of that. And then we'll move on to your coil. Your coil is actually where the refrigerant that I talked about from your outside condenser goes to your inside. So when it returns to the inside, instead of being what we called superheated on the outside, now we cool it down, and that refrigerant line that goes through there will actually get really cold. So typical A-frame coils have a part that looks like an A inside, and the air actually flows right across that coil. So it flies right through all of those fins inside that coil that is cooled down to almost a freezing temperature. And that's where your air actually loses the heat or becomes cold air that flows back into your home. You want to make sure that that area is clean too, because you can imagine that system, if this, where the air has to flow, if this area, it gets clogged up, that air has a very difficult time trying to get through and cool itself down, and becomes a problem, both efficiency, functionality wise, causes a lot of problems to your system. You want to make sure you have clean air flowing through there so we don't clog up our inside coil. But we'll take a look at your inside coil. If it does need a deeper clean, we point that out to you, and it can either be cleaned in place, or sometimes we have to remove the whole coil and do a deep clean by removing the coil and then reinstalling it. The air then flows through your duct system, where it distributes throughout your house, and you obviously want to make sure your duct system is clean. We have duct cleaning options available for customers who want to make sure that their ducts are clean. And if you haven't had your ducts clean in the last probably 5 to 7 years, you want to take a look and get that clean. So eventually ducts in the inside just start to pick up a lot of dust, debris, things like that. And that affects your indoor air quality. Your filter is the part that's used to filter the air before it goes into your system. A lot of times you'll see that in your ceiling registers, or it could be inside your furnace or air handler itself. The little 1-inch filters, I call them monthly filters, they need to be changed out probably every 1 to 2 months. You could probably go up to 3 months in a very clean environment, but they do need to be changed quite often. You can get larger filters. You need a filter box for it, but the larger 5 to 6-inch filters, those can typically go probably somewhere between 6 months all the way up to a year before you have to change it out, depending on the cleanliness and the use of your system. But you want to make sure that those are changed out prior to summertime, because that out here is when we get the heaviest use of our air conditioner system. The refrigerant lines that go between your outside condenser and your coil, we want to make sure that they're wrapped properly with what we call Rubitex. It's a rubberized insulation, and that'll help keep the lines, as they're either superheated or cooled down, from losing that temperature change to the outside elements, or even inside your attic, the extreme temperatures inside your attic. So these are the items that we're looking at. We check all the capacitors. There's a lot of moving parts in your condenser and inside your air handler or furnace. So we want to make sure that electrically all your motors are working properly. that all your capacitors, contactors, transformers, all of those items we want to make sure are in good shape. You're aware of any wear and tear on those things, can change them out early, or are prepared if you wait to change them out for those items to go out. You can do this stuff yourself, not all of it, but a lot of things you can do yourself. If you have the technical ability and if you have some tools out there. So I explained, cleaning your condenser off. You could technically just water it down. The outside condensers are made for water. Make sure you turn that power off before you do it. Even watering it down is better than just leaving it dusty. But ideally, if you can, you want to be able to open it up and wash it from the inside out. Just make sure you turn the water off. The power off before you touch anything electrically in your system. And then the water won't hurt it at all. So you can turn the power on once you put everything back together. Your inside area, you can again open up your condenser and clean that area out. The coil, you typically don't want to get too far into, especially if you're doing it yourself. And then there is a condensation line because your coil does produce water. One of the areas that we find issues with all the time is water problems in the summertime. My ceiling's dripping water. I got water on my drywall because of my air conditioner system. Your air conditioner system has plumbing lines, PVC lines that actually take the water as the heat, the air from inside your home cools down. It actually changes to some moisture and it drips that moisture off the coil. And then we have to get that out of your home. Well, if that condensation line, that line that brings the water from your coil to the outside gets plugged, you're going to end up with problems inside your home. So you want to make sure that you clear that out. That can be done. Typically, we'll use a nitrogen gun to flush it out, but you can use some water. You can use, if you have any high pressure air, just be careful that you don't blow the lines apart, but you can open them up and blow the condensation line clean. That's a really important area and an area that we work on all the time because it becomes a problem in the summertime for many, many people out there. So, but those are the areas, if you're going to do it yourself, take a look at those 4 areas: changing your filter, washing your condenser, cleaning your furnace or air handler on the inside, clearing your condensation line. So those are the areas where you can do it yourself if you want. If you want it professionally done, it's going to get done at a much better standard. And then we check all the electrical components and all sorts of areas while we're there, making sure that you're prepared for summer. Whatever you do, take some steps to prepare yourself. Get ready for this coming summer. If you want us to do it, we have some really good pricing. $99 will come out there for a one-time tune-up. And that includes all those steps that I talked about to make sure it's professionally done. Or for $14.95 a month, we do what's our seasonal plan. We come out in the spring, we come out in the fall, and we take care of it in both seasons to make sure that you're prepared with your air conditioner system. Maintains the length that your air conditioner system will last you, and the efficiency that your air conditioner system will run. So give us a call. We'd be happy to help you out and make sure that your system is ready for our long summer trip ahead. So